Welcome to the Ultimate Day Trading Course with me, your host, Justin Perez. So, who am I? What's my track record? Well, I was born in Passaic, New Jersey, just right outside of Manhattan, and I've lived all throughout New Jersey growing up. I went to high school in Pennsylvania, where we also lived, and I've also lived in Florida and North Carolina. Now, we lived a pretty average life growing up, and just like most kids my age, I was an athlete growing up. I played ice hockey. I traveled many different places with my parents, and I was a pretty good kid, but I wasn't really all that good academically. In fact, I struggled all throughout high school, and I was very distracted as a kid. I was more or less the class clown, a kid that would make a joke out of anything. Throughout high school, I really didn't take anything serious. And unlike most kids my age or at that time, I didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life. I was just kind of a lost cause for the most part. At around the age of 16, 17 years old, I decided to drop out of high school. And that's kind of where life hit me for the first time. Now, unlike both of my parents, they both graduated high school, but I just kind of had other plans, and in reality I had no plans. I just didn't want to go to school anymore. My parents kind of at some point just kind of got fed up with trying to force me to go to school, and they eventually signed me out. I remember when my dad signed me out of school, we walked out, and as we're walking out of the school with the papers in my hand, he kind of looked at me and he said, "Well, I hope you have a plan." And I kind of stayed quiet because I didn't have a plan at all. Just like most high school dropouts, I kind of struggled all throughout those first couple years. I mean, I've worked all type of fast food jobs, warehouse jobs, I had sales jobs, I worked construction, plumbing, I mean, you name it. Now, in the process of all that, I did study and get my GED, and I eventually went off to college. But I quickly found out I didn't like college as much as I didn't like high school. Don't get me wrong, I had a great childhood. Played ice hockey growing up, and we traveled to thousands of different places. I grew up in a really family-oriented environment. My parents worked extremely hard their entire life to provide for me and my brother growing up. But it was just something about me that I think I wanted something that I wasn't sure how to attain. And it was always like that at a very young age. In fact, my mom used to joke around a lot and tell me that she hoped that I worked very hard and made a lot of money because I had very expensive taste. And she was right. Being in jail was probably the most eye-awakening moment in my life, because although I hadn't been successful at that point in my life, and I really didn't have any plan or vision for what I wanted to do, I absolutely knew as I was sitting in jail that I wasn't meant for jail, and I frankly wanted more from life. Now, it wasn't until I found day trading that I actually had envisioned myself doing that for the rest of my life. I mean, everything before it was just kind of like a stepping stone or getting by and trying to figure out what's the next big thing for me, until I found trading. That's when I kind of knew that's what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. Now, fast forward through all the unprofitable years and profitable years, I sit here today as a 7-figure trader in the markets, primarily focusing on the futures market. Now, like I said, not every year was profitable. And in fact, the first 2 years were a nightmare. It was a complete disaster. And in fact, I was really more gambling than I was day trading, because I didn't really understand what I was doing. I just knew that this was an opportunity to make money. So I was pretty much guessing my way through the markets, and I learned really fast that you could lose a lot of money in the stock market. First 2 years, I traded options, and at some point, I actually ended up quitting because of the major losses that I was taking. About a month after I quit trading, I decided to pick it back up, and that's when I learned about the futures market. That's when I started to learn strategy, and I started studying the markets, as well as starting to study and pick up indications and strategy within the market. It wasn't until then where I really realized that day trading was not a get-rich-quick scheme, nor was it really a safe place to invest money if you didn't have any knowledge within the markets. So I started studying, I started looking at different day traders, and I started learning. Now that put me in at around year 3, and year 3 was my first profitable year. My first profitable year, I made around $168,000, and that was not the most money I had ever made, but it made me realize that I could do this for a living. There's no real one-way road in day trading. In fact, there's thousands of ways and routes that you can take to becoming profitable. But just as there is profitable routes, there's certainly unprofitable routes. The whole reason I created the Ultimate Day Trading course, I wanted to create a shortcut to all the right answers and all the right strategies that I personally used to become profitable. My main goal when I sat down and really created this course was to just change lives, to offer people who are new to day trading a route where they could learn a very specific strategy, a very profitable strategy that could shortcut the ways of learning all the things that just aren't real or true in the market. Doesn't mean that my way is the most profitable. It just means that it was the most profitable way for myself. I think a lot of traders get all the wrong information and all the wrong ideas about day trading, and if I could help them just have some guidance, that's my ultimate goal. But enough about me, guys. Let's get into the course.